Welcome to Empowering Xchanges, Tuesday Toast to Transformation.
Hey EmpowerX community, Serena,
And Sarah here.
your host on this exciting journey of conversations for and by women. Join us on Tuesdays as we uncork the wisdom, share the challenges, and celebrate the victories that make us who we are.
From navigating career highs
to embracing the quirks of life,
we're here for it all. Let's raise a toast to transformation, sisterhood, and building a brighter future together. Pour your favorite beverage, tune in, and let's dive into the heart-to-heart talks that empower us all.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Curl up in this chair, have this conversation.
Warm and cozy?
Yep.
Oh,
Warm
goodness.
and cozy.
We're doing a couple of hard topics in a row. This one is motherhood
And otherhood.
Cheers!
Cheers.
We're going to do this. Light and bubbly.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's just hard to talk about all of the things that we deal with? Maybe that's
the recurring theme here.
yeah. All of these conversations are a little bit hard.
Yeah. But hopefully that's what we're doing, is breaking this down so that we can have these
and actually
real
talking about them.
Yeah, it's needed.
Yeah.
For our sanity
Yes.
and for progress.
Yep. And supporting everybody around us.
Oh, 100%. All right, so clearly we come from, well, maybe not clearly. We'll set that stage.
Yeah.
But,
well, maybe explain our backgrounds a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard from other episodes about how
Yes.
Serena's mentioned she has kids.
Yes.
And I do not. I have made the decision to not have kids.
Right.
So
I coming from, again, a small town, and feeling like the norm was getting married at a young age and having kids at a young age and all that jazz. I got married when I was 23, had our first kid when I was 25, and had my last one, 3 total, when I was 34. I just realized that span might make it sound like I had 6. I have 3. Not judging, of course, if you have 1 or none. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But I think that's definitely given me a different take on how I approach things and the things that I have to think about. Or, as we talked in the last episode about that unseen labor and the things that we feel are expected of us in the different stages. So, I guess one of the things that I look forward to as being a mom is hopefully helping break this cycle. And hopefully showing my boys, I have 2 boys and a girl, hopefully showing them that they need to treat their partners as equals, regardless of gender or age or any of that. And raising a daughter to be a stronger version of who I was. And I thought for a long time I was just going to be a boy mom, just having 2 boys and that was it. We always wanted 3 kids, but having that 3rd one was a rough one. And when she came out as a female, I think that's ultimately what kind of turned my mindset into becoming much more focused on creating a better future for her and making sure that she didn't feel like she had to take other people's shit. And that she could be stronger. I was stronger at that point too. Having had her at 34 as opposed to 25, that's, a different
you learn a lot
maturity.
In that time period.
Yes, yeah. So she definitely has gotten a different version of me than my boys did too. And I think that's what has inspired me to go down this path of making sure that other women have a hand up in whatever we traverse through life.
Yeah. And I have decided to not have kids, which in small towns, frankly in Michigan, is not very common. I don't know if I have any females who have also made that decision, female friends who have also made that decision. So frankly, it's been fucking lonely.
Yes.
It's very hard. But it doesn't mean that I haven't made a lot of effort to understand my female friends who do have kids. Especially being a manager for the last 13, 14 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. I've managed a lot of females and understanding the issues that they deal with, especially after having kids. My best friend has just had her 2nd kid, and maternity leave is shit.
Yeah.
I mean, how you come back from it and you've used probably all of your PTO and then you have to take kids to the doctors constantly. You know, I'm very passionate about understanding women in multiple scenarios, but I think I've also gotten a lot, especially in Michigan, like you're weird. Who are you? I don't understand you.
Kids
I don't
are
know.
blessings.
Yeah, kids are a blessing, you know.
Which they are.
Yes.
But also.
Yeah. If you don't have the same last name as your husband, what are your kids going to be? Oh my God, not having kids. So it's just, there's been so many things. I've been asked multiple times, when am I having kids? Instead of, do I have kids?
Right.
And that is very, very different. Let's clarify that. That is a huge assumption, especially for women who are having difficulties getting pregnant.
Absolutely.
You know, and I've known quite a few who've had that, and I'm very passionate about like not saying stupid stuff like that. You know, but even when that instance happened later in my career, I was able to have that conversation with the person who said that and say, hey, just want to let you know, that's probably not the right thing to say. You could ask if I have a kid, not when, because you don't know. There could be, you know, my circumstances. You don't know what I'm going through, and making that assumption is not helpful.
Right.
But it also is really hard, I think, to relate sometimes to other women. I think sometimes you get written off of, she doesn't get it, or she doesn't understand what I'm going through, or things are very different. You know, I've always been kind of like a guy's girl. I've been tomboy, all that kind of stuff too. But it doesn't mean that I want to just be friends with the guys or understand them. And they don't get it fully either, because, you know, their aspect is most of the time wives or partners, and they do have kids. There are many reasons why I have decided to not have kids. There's no, I think, one reason. But I think, you know, we talked about how we grew up. I think not realizing that you can have both is probably a big part of it. You know, I realize that so many women have to choose, or they have to be less at one and more at another. That it frankly kind of terrified me. Like, if I have to make that decision and have not as much support. I mean, in the U.S., we do not have maternity leaves. Like in Europe, we do not have that kind of support. Frankly, maybe if I lived in Europe, I would have had kids. I don't know. But I think it's very difficult. And I knew that early on. I had 2 older sisters. You know, I had an older sister who had her first kid when I was a sophomore in college, and I realized those difficulties right away, and I made that decision that I, as a person, probably don't know how to be less in either instance, or how to handle that. You know, many other reasons too, right? But it was something that it was just what I wanted from a very early age. I realized that was not something it was going to be.
I think it's interesting too that you say that that you'd have to be less at one or the other, because I think definitely having kids, there's that guilt innately that, like, well, I was 100% at work today, I was only 75% at home. And now I feel guilty about that. And it's a constant struggle too of not feeling enough. But also, to one of our previous conversations, it also makes self-care so much
even more
deprioritized. But yes, it should be prioritized even more. But we deprioritize.
Even more.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
And maybe that's part of why I chose not to have kids. Maybe I understood it too well. I've joked.
Not doing this.
I know. I think my husband and I joked about it. It's like, it's not that we don't get it. I think maybe we understand it too well, or understand how hard it is. I think that's why I can empathize so much, because that was a big part of my decision about how, you know, especially in my early career, I saw how difficult it was for so many women, and how they had to, again, choose one or the other.
100%. Every day you're taking a choice.
Every day. And like, no matter what women do, if you just work, if you're a career mom, they're like, oh, you should stay home with your kids. If you stay home with your kids, they're like, why don't you have a career? And it's constant not winning.
Oh, that's a hashtag not winning. For sure. Oh my goodness. I would say too that the physiology of being a woman plays into this too. I saw this post the other day about how when men get vasectomies, they're told they are to move off the couch for 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Women have a C-section. I had 3. And I'm supposed to be back at it in 8 weeks, and you're back to work.
Yeah.
Now, granted, things are changing, and women are getting more time off for those things.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh, like, it was so downplayed for so many years, and it was made to seem easy as the easy route for having a C-section versus natural labor. And yes, I of course feel like I missed out on something, not naturally having a
But
child.
that's also that guilt thing.
But
Like, no matter what you choose.
Yes, yeah. And it wasn't even really a choice, too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's constantly feeling like there is some standard that we have to meet, and whenever we fail to meet it, we are down on ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, I think this goes back to just like gender biases. So much so. You know, no matter what we do, we cannot win. And I think that's so difficult. You know, like how many people, like hundreds, have asked me, you know, when I'm having kids, oh, I'm missing out. Oh, I don't understand the joy that it brings. You know, having kids, you know, all of this stuff. Yeah. How many people believe that it is their right to have a say on my life? But how many times does that happen to my husband?
Yeah.
I think barely any, if zero, you know?
Yeah.
And probably less now, because we're very, we're way into our marriage, 12 years into our marriage, and people probably have just given up at this point.
Not
happening. But it's not like it's an easy decision. I think we frankly revisit it like every year, once a year. One of the times we had this conversation, we were at a Dunkin' Donuts, and then kids were sitting there, and they just started screaming, knocking things over, and we looked at each other and we're like, yeah, we
made a good choice.
But again, it's those gender biases about what is expected out of women and how much you have to do versus men. We were talking before we started filming about how, you know, statistically, unintentionally, oftentimes men who do have kids make more, and women who have kids make less.
Right.
Because they assume that men who have kids need to provide, need to, make more money so that they can take care of their kids. Yeah. And women who have kids are assumed that they will work less. That their priorities have shifted now to their kids instead of their company, and so they're penalized for
most of the time it's the opposite. We feel guilty because we feel like we're not doing it.
I
know. Which also brings to light too, when we talk about motherhood and otherhood in our career spaces. I know for me personally, and I know even anecdotally for you, for me, I miss out on some of the after work activities because I feel, again, I have that mom guilt. Need to be home, need to make sure that the kids have what they need, blah, blah, blah. I know.
Had to take a sip.
I know on the other hand, though, for those that don't have kids, sometimes you feel like it's your obligation to work more, to work the holidays, to work whatever it is, because other people have families.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean, that happens so often. I mean, especially in like retail too. Yeah. I've heard so many stories of that, but there are many times where I travel more because everybody else has kids.
Right.
Or they don't think I have an excuse to leave early because I don't have kids, or I don't have soccer games, or whatever it is. I mean, that, honestly, my husband has even dealt with, where many times they're like, well, I don't expect you to have an excuse to leave at 5 because you don't have a family to take care of. You don't have kids to pick up at daycare. And how I think it is really hard to do that because, yes, people who don't have kids do want to help. I think oftentimes. Well, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I do want that, you know, and I do want to understand everything that's going on. But at the same time, like, maybe it does seem a little unfair.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think sometimes it's just about employees trying to take better care of their people.
That's what I was just going to say. And I think to wrap all of this up and kind of summarize maybe what the call to action should be is, again, I think it goes back to having more of that emotional intelligence to understand other perspectives.
Yeah. Have that compassion.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, one of the career coaches we had at the executive level talked to us about empathy versus compassion.
Yes. Yeah.
And compassion is not just putting yourself into someone's shoes, but trying to find actions to fix that.
Yep.
And I think that's the difference is being action oriented, and so many times we don't, or we can empathize.
Oh, so sorry.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Then fix it. Try to do something
right.
different. And so many people are just like, oh, it's out of my hands, or I can't do anything about it. But
especially being in a leadership position, you absolutely can do something about it.
You have a responsibility too,
100%.
at least to say.
You are an advocate for your team, for those in the organization that don't feel like they have a voice or can speak loud enough to be heard.
Yep.
I absolutely feel, I know we talked in one of the last episodes about what leadership means. I think that's another component to it, is it's being the voice for those that cannot be heard. And these rules aren't set in stone. They can be changed. And you can create a better environment if you are willing to actually put yourself out there to do so.
And if you don't understand it, ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Ask the people who are going through this. Ask what they deal with. Ask how you can be better. Ask how you can influence things. Instead of just assuming that someone will tell you.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when you're in leadership, people are afraid sometimes to tell you the honest truth. But again, it goes back to other conversations. Building that trust so you can have these conversations, so you can help, so you can do things differently.
100%. Yeah. Communication. Big theme.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And compassion and empathy.
Again, essential skills.
Yeah.
That we all need to have in order to make our environments better and stronger. I think that's, being a partnership that we have here and being able to have the different perspectives, I think that's super helpful in helping to see how we can create change.
Yeah. And I think just being, having this conversation that we had to be able to understand other people's perspectives. I know I'm probably in the minority maybe, but still, I think so many times, even friends of mine have not realized how lonely it is. They think I don't like kids because I don't have them, so I don't get invited to kids' birthday parties or to hang out with them. And I'm like, I do like kids, just because I don't want them. It probably makes me like them more when I see them.
You don't have to take them home.
Yeah. Give them candy, be the funny, all that kind of stuff. But it does, when you lose those friendships because things change in your life, it is very, very hard. And it doesn't mean that you don't want to or you don't want to understand each other. And I think, we talked about this again. Us as women are responsible for reaching out and having these conversations and supporting those women around us.
Yeah, so regardless of your walk of life and your choices that you've made thus far, we're here to support you and find ways that we can have these conversations and help create the change in our organizations and our communities to better include all of us.
Yeah. And I even realize just how privileged I think both of us are to have a partner too. Imagine either one of these being alone. I think especially women who don't even have a partner, sometimes they're looked at even weirder than I am.
Oh my gosh.
Or if you had to do this all on your own as a single parent, it's
both my siblings are, and I can empathize for them too, of just the hard it's already hard being a parent and then having it all
on one
you.
person. Yeah. There are so many different aspects of this that we could probably talk again
for sure
for hours on.
Yes.
I think we could on pretty much any topic.
Yep.
But again, if there's more you would like us to go into, please let us know. Let us know if you have a different idea. Let us know if you have a different opinion. I mean, there are...
What other hoods are there?
Yeah. There are a lot of walks of life, a lot of different things that we deal with. These are just our perspectives, and we appreciate you guys listening.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, cheers to motherhood, otherhood, and making them all equal.
All of the rest in between, too.
That's right.
That's a wrap on another episode of Empowering Exchanges. We hope you enjoyed this chat and would love to hear your suggestions for additional topics on challenges, triumphs, and the laughter that bonds us together.
Don't forget to hit subscribe, share the love, and join us on Tuesdays for another dose of wisdom, wit, and warmth. Keep shining, keep thriving, and keep toasting to the incredible journey of womanhood.
Until next time, cheers.
Cheers!